great thing for doing this. If nothing else, we get to see him on person. That's something, right? That's something.
Well, that's what it says there. When it's actually comedy, something happens. Tough audience. I'm gonna get tackled by my students. I know. This is the main reason to come to tell your buddies. That's all right.
No. So I bought a tambourine and some noisemakers. Would you indulge? I'll indulge, but not up there. No, that's fine. I'll definitely indulge. That's great. Sally, how are you? Hey, how are you? No. Sally, I This is Sally. Yeah, so. Bob should have said, checked at the end, Bob.
That's like if you're driving from Scotland from Virginia to Tennessee, we're literally just that first corner on the left that goes on forever.
No, Marshall's okay. John just gave it. It's okay.
Oh, Chopin isn't showing up yet.
They seem to be doing it once a year.
Very, very fun. Not a big spender. So she gave it, she said I won.
It's starting to make plans for a second.
Where you going?
5,000.
son's Spanish. You have wonderful things to love.
I'm not going to sing with this. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Did you start the camera? I did start the camera. This is an official thing. Can we get a round of applause for Ian Watson? Couldn't he play so fine? All right. Good evening, everyone. I can still say Shabbat Shalom to you, but welcome to what we at least think is the first talent show in the history of Temple Adas Israel. I don't know if that's actually true, but we're going to go with it in any case. I appreciate all of you that have come here tonight to show off your talent, and especially those of you that came to support that talent. And as I said at the beginning when we had this idea, I was never going to ask my people to do something if I wasn't going to put myself out there first. So for better or for worse, you're stuck with me for at least the next couple minutes. And I guess I'll introduce myself. Rabbi Dan, and this is my backup career as a failed comedian, so we'll see what I can do. So, the thing about comedy that I've learned, and you have to study if you're a rabbi, you have to study, where does comedy come from? And comedy really comes from early on in life, some of the real traumas of life, the things that teach you the greatest lessons. And when I was a kid, it may surprise you, and we have a few teenagers in the room, I had an acne problem, I had pimples all over my face, and one day I went to the library, I fell asleep, and I woke up, and a blind guy was reading my face. He was trying to figure out what was going on. So, of course, the thing was, having this acne problem, amongst many things, it made me very self-conscious as a young guy. And you may not know this about me, but I briefly played football in high school, and I was enjoying it and everything, but again, I was so self-conscious. And every time the guys would get into a huddle, I thought they were talking about me. So of course, my parents, they're concerned, they're loving parents, they think, all right, Dan, he's having a really tough time, what can we do to help him? So they do what most parents did in the 80s, they sent me to a shrink. And after listening to me for a while, and I'm opening up to the shrink, I'm as vulnerable as possible, and telling everything about, the shrink stops me, and he says, you know what, you're crazy. I say, I want a second opinion. He says, okay, you're ugly too. I didn't run out the door, I continued the conversation. I said, doctor, really, I feel like everybody in the world hates me. And, he stops for a second and thinks, yeah, Dan, you're being ridiculous.
everyone hasn't met you yet. But you know, thank God, Zrat Hashem, as they say, I overcame my early life challenges, all that stuff, and I became a rabbi. Now, speaking of rabbis, you ever heard this one about the rabbi who, he always wanted to try pork, but he was a little concerned, you know, he didn't want anybody to know. So he went 2 towns over, and he found a restaurant 2 towns over, and he's all excited, he drives all the way out there, he's gonna eat pork for the first time. He sits down in the restaurant, he gets to the table, and he orders a suckling pig. He's waiting, he's all excited, and finally the waiter comes over, he plops down a big, full roasted pig, big apple in its mouth, and just as he's about to open his mouth and start eating this pig, his congregants walk in, and he's overwhelmed. I said, oh no. He's looking around, he's big eyes, and he says, so no, what is it with this restaurant? I order an apple, and look how they serve it. I'm not done yet, you're boring me off the stage already. The other one about a rabbi. He went to his Passover, and he took his lunch with himself to the park, and he sits down on a park bench, and begins eating, and then a very nice guy, hard of seeing, you know, a blind guy sits down next to him, and the rabbi's feeling, you know, sorry for him, so he hands off a piece of his matzah and hands it to him, and the blind man feels the matzah, and he's messing around with it, he can't quite figure it out, there's a puzzled look on his face, and finally he says, who wrote this crap? And yes, I said crap in the sanctuary, it's not good. And in front of my students, huge trouble. So did you ever hear this one's for you guys actually, the story about the synagogue that had a terrible mice problem, terrible, infestation, mice everywhere. So custodian, he's working as hard as he can, he's trying to figure out, how am I going to fix this problem? Nobody's going to come back. He tries everything, he tries traps, he tries, you know, fumigation, he tries talking to the mice, he tries, you know, everything he could possibly think of, and eventually he gives up, he's out of options, he doesn't know what to do. So he goes to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, I've tried everything, I can't get rid of the mice. So the rabbi says for thinking, he thinks for a second, and he says, you know what, I got the answer, I got the perfect answer. And the custodian says, what is it? I thought I tried everything. He says, okay, it's a foolproof plan, I promise you, okay? I'm gonna give each of the mice a bar mitzvah. As soon as they're done, I promise we'll never see them ever again. Which will lead to the front row, so that joke doesn't even work. Okay. But you know, look, all joking aside, I'm very thankful that I am a rabbi. And oh, thank you. I'm not fishing for compliments, I promise. So I love my job. And as you know, I come from a family, and the family is big and important to me, and I wouldn't be a rabbi, I wouldn't be your rabbi without my family, and I love them, and I love the advice I used to get. And speaking of advice, I got the really great advice from my grandfather. He used to say this to me all the time. He'd say, you know, Daniel, whatever you do, don't watch your money, okay? Watch your health. Don't watch your money, watch your health. So one day I was, you know, watching my health, and someone stole my money. It was my grandfather. I don't need to. It's almost done, I promise. We're in the home stretch. But you know, all seriously, you know, I love my grandfather, and he used to tell me all sorts of stories. And one time he was telling me a story about when he was a kid, and he was in the hospital, and he was sitting on a gurney, and there's another kid right next to him on the gurney, and they're both waiting for their procedure. And you know, he's feeling nervous, so he starts a conversation with the other kid, and he says, so what are you in for? What are you here for? And the kid says, actually, it's the other way around. This is already bombed the joke before I started. So the kid leans over to my grandfather and asks my grandfather, what are you in for? Right? All the way around, I screwed up again. I promise, this is not the joke. Okay, let's start this again. Thank you. Okay, so my grandfather's lying on the stretcher next to the other kid outside the operating room. The other kid leans over and asks, what are you in for? My grandfather says, you know, I'm getting my tonsils out, and, you know, I'm a little bit nervous. And then the kid says back, look, you got nothing to worry about. This happened to me not so long ago. You know, you get knocked out, and after you wake up, they give you Jell-O and ice cream, and you're gonna love it. It's a breeze. So my grandfather, feeling very relieved, you know, and he returns the favor. So he says, you know, what are you in for? And the other kid says, a circumcision. And then grandpa shoots back, whoa, good luck with that, buddy. I had that done when I was born, and I couldn't walk for a year. Okay, so the last one, I promise. Last one. It really is the last one. I'm out of jokes. So he also, my grandfather told me this one other story when he was back, a long time ago studying at the yeshiva, and for whatever reason, the yeshiva decided, they had an athletic program, and they decided, we want to start a crew program. We want to start a rowing team. But, no matter what they did, they got beat by everybody after. They could not win. So finally they get together and say, you know what? You're going to go over, watch one of these prep schools, pay attention to how they do it. You're going to spy on them, see what their techniques are, learn them. So my grandfather goes and spends a day at the prep school, and he's paying attention, and he learns all this stuff, and he comes back to the team. He says, guys, I figured it out. We've been doing it wrong all this time. We're doing it wrong. See, in their case, they got 8 guys rowing and only 1 guy yelling at them. In our case, we're doing it the other way around. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. You've got a great audience. You got a great show coming up. Don't forget to tip your rabbi on the way out. And for, but I feel bad. Arlene, you're following me, so, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know, we're gonna find out. Ladies and gentlemen, can we get a round of applause for Arlene Blake, who is singing Jamaica Farewell. And a round of applause for Marcia, who is our happy host. Okay.
Right? Yeah. You want the big one? I'll take the little one. I'll take the little one. Anybody from the voice makeup? Come on. No, you're too shy. You guys, thank you. And thanks, Marcia. These are great, the noisy eggs. Anybody else want an egg? I'll take some.
Next time you open door.
You guys for the
I have one more. Thanks.
What's the fix? Next time we're going you first. I don't know what I was thinking. Alright. So, that's like, that was already? Yes.
I don't think I need a mic.
I had a list of 10.
Yeah? Dan,
I'm playing up the crowd for you. That's all it is, Arlene,
I've been playing guitar since I was 15. And of course, it's changed my life and made it better, and I've met so many people. But I must admit, I turned 70 this summer, and I was much better 20 years ago. But I'll do the best I can, and okay. People on the back hand here.
for our audience. All right, next up we have Aaron Kennedy, soon to be off to college Aaron Kennedy. Playing on the piano, A Child is Born. Still yes? Correct? Okay, let's make some space for Aaron over there. Experience.
Hey, thanks.
I'll be right back. Oh, okay. You know what, I should bring my bag around. I'll be right back.
Now this is one I've been looking forward to since last week when I found out it was an actual possibility. I don't know where he is in the room, but he's definitely the best dressed man in the room at the moment. Can we get a round of applause to welcome Bob Getling, our very own Robert Getling, Master of Magic. Master of Magic.
Yeah.
Mr. Getling, the floor is yours.
Oh, it sure is. Thanks a lot. I gotta follow that gal. She's fantastic.
She is
Who
fantastic.
hates me in here? I don't know. All right.
I'll hold this
Well,
on.
I'm not- I'll be up there in a minute. Trust me. I'm gonna get even though, because Dan don't go too far. I need some help.
Okay, you
Upstairs.
got it.
And
Anything you need.
where's Shelley? Where is Shelley? I need Shelley. Shelley in the back. Get up. Shelley in the front. Up here on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just gotta tell you a few little things before I go into the magic trick. And by the way, I got a big deck of cards. So not the little ones, you won't be able to see anything, but trust me, you'll see these. Just for the record, the last time I did a magic trick, I put a hood over my head. And when I took the hood off, half the audience had disappeared. Hopefully tonight will be better than that. And Neil, I see Neil was here because he stopped me the other day and said, I heard you're going to do a magic trick. I said, yeah, and then Neil told me that he also knows magic. And that I better be good or my job will disappear.
1 second, I thought Dan was going to be.
Hey you! Hey you! You down there.
Yeah.
Why don't you get a real job? You're a bum. BM. Bum.
Oh,
A bum.
you can't even spell it.
BM. Bum.
BM, you left something out.
Yeah, you.
Oh, I'm taking on water tonight. Probably the worst thing, and then we're going to go into the trick, is that the worst thing that ever happened to me was when my mother was one of the shows and she hollered out, get a real job. And I said, well, what are you talking about? And she said, like my wife just did, you're a bum. And I said, oh yeah, you left something out. And she said, yeah, you. So everybody thinks that I'm a bum and I'm leaving things out. So now we're going to get going on the show. I didn't expect Joe to steal my lines. But here we go.
All right.
pencil here and pens. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Shelley, we're gonna have a little talk. We've done this before. You know what you're supposed to say. You know, as you know, read your lines, you know, you remember. Okay. Deck of cards. You can look at the cards. You see they're all, yeah, they're like regular playing cards, right? Top, bottom, all the cards, right?
I don't need my glasses.
I'm sorry?
I don't need my glasses.
You don't need your glasses. Shelley, there's 4 suits on deck of cards, as you know, right?
Right.
Okay, I want you to name any 2.
Hearts and diamonds.
Hearts and diamonds, okay. That's a piece over here. Well, put them so you guys can see. We'll put them right over here. Here's the deck of cards, folks. Hearts and diamonds. Now pick 1 suit, hearts or diamonds.
Hearts.
Hearts. In cards, you got cards from 1 to 10 and jack through king. Pick a group, 1 through 10 or jack through king.
An 8.
No, a group.
Oh, sorry, 1
That's
to
it.
10.
1 through 10. That leaves jack through king.
Okay.
That's 3, so we can't make it even groups. So we got a jack and a queen together. We'll call it a group, and a king over here. That's a different group. So call the jack queen together or the king.
King.
King. That leaves a jack and a queen.
Okay.
Down to 2. Pick 1, the jack or the queen.
The queen.
Queen of hearts.
Right.
Okay. Now, once you write that, big letter so everybody can see it, the queen of hearts. There we go. Queen of hearts from Shelley, right there.
That's because she is the Queen of Hearts.
Yes, it is.
That's nice.
That's an envelope that's gonna go, Dan knows what he's gonna do. Dan, I want you to do me a favor, and my back is gonna be turned. I want you to take the top card off there and put it in the envelope,
You got it.
okay? Okay, my back is turned.
Top card, is it? Right? Top card?
Yeah, top card. Put it in the envelope. Let me know when you're done.
You got it.
Okay. Now, while